Hello, now moving on to comparison. This is where it starts to get a little bit more complicated. Most of the time, the comparison question will not give you any subject, will not give you any aspect or any claim. It's up to you to figure them out. So you have to read both sources first. Read both the sources first. Pick out a similar subject that you can find. Okay, regardless whether you're doing difference or similarity, find a common subject that both sources are referring to. Then after that, find a common aspect that both sources are referring to. Alright? Whether the sources are similar or different is going to come from the claim. Alright? The claim is going to determine whether the sources are going to be different or they're going to be similar. The subject and the aspect of the subject must be the same, because you're comparing the same things. Make sure these two things are exactly the same. For example, they ask you the classic question, how similar are the sources? No subject, no aspect, no claim given. You have to find out all three. That is why the comparison question is one of the toughest questions to answer. You have to pick out subject, aspect, make sure they are the same, then find out the claim, which is your inference, right? Find out the claim and make sure that this claim is either similar or they are different. Okay, now so the similarity or differences will depend on the claim itself, which is what I mean here. For example, if I'm going to write similar, writing similar means that the claim here is the same. So therefore, I can give my first sentence with subject, aspect, and claim. Okay, for example, here, living conditions is the aspect. The Chinese is the subject. And my claim is both agree, implied from the evidence that is harsh. Right? So I figure out the aspect, I figure out the subject, and then I figure out the claim. And in this case, it's a common claim from both sources. Hence, I can conclude both sources similar in telling me that living conditions of the Chinese was harsh. Now, take a look at the difference example. When I do my difference example, I also have to pick out the same claim, and not the same claim, sorry, the same subject, the same aspect. In this case, both sources are different regarding the living conditions. See, talking about the same aspect. Talking about the same subject of the Chinese. Both are referring to living conditions, both are referring to the Chinese. The difference now is in my claim, because one tells me the living conditions was harsh, while the other one tells me the living conditions was comfortable. So they are different because they have different claims, but they have different claims regarding the same aspect and the same subject. So look at both sources first. Find the subject that is similar between both. Find the aspect that is similar between both. Then determine whether the claim is similar or different. That will determine whether or not you write similarity or difference first. Choose the easier one first. Okay, this is an anomaly. In some cases, you may find that when you read both sources, right, the subject, okay, is the same, aspect is the same, and you see that the claim is also the same. Okay, however, only the claim is the same. Like I told you from the beginning, right? In the inference, in some cases, there are 4 aspects to the inference, right? Which includes the subject, the aspect, the claim, and then the reason. In some cases, right, SAC, subject, aspect, and claim are going to be the same, but they are still different. If let's say you can't find any other difference, then you can use this one. The difference will come under the reason. The reason as to why the claim is true. For example, both sources are different regarding the reason for the wealth of the immigrants, right? So, where is my subject here? Subject is the immigrants. Where is my aspect? I'm talking about the wealth of the immigrants. And in that sense, the claim is also embedded in the aspect, in that I'm claiming that the immigrants are also wealthy. And so now my difference is when I read both sources. Okay, although I can see that both claim the immigrants' lifestyle, right, is that they are wealthy. However, both are different in terms of my reason why they are wealthy. Because I can clearly see from A that the wealth comes from the inheritance from their grandparents, well, while the reason from B claims that is due to their hard work, it's due to their resilience, it's due to them never giving up, and that is how they build their wealth. So this is how, okay, the sources can have similar subject, can have similar aspect, can have similar claims, but yet can still be different, because the last aspect of inference, the reason, is the thing that is different between the two. Okay, next video we will talk about reliability.